Hey guys, it's CJ. While in New Zealand for the New Zealand Truck Show, we took the Bluebridge Ferry from Wellington to Picton. This isn't just a scenic trip, it's a vital link in New Zealand's transport network. Without it, transport across the country would come to a standstill. We were honoured to get a behind-the-scenes look at this incredible operation. And I want to thank the Bluebridge staff and crew for sharing this essential piece of transport infrastructure with us. I hope you enjoy it.
Bluebridge, I guess, started because our founder, a guy called Jim Barker, who was sort of a legend in trucking circles in New Zealand, he set up trucking businesses. He was sick and tired of paying, monopoly prices to move livestock across Cook Strait. So basically what Jim did is said, one day got in a big fight with him and said, well, I'm going to put my own boat on. And he went and acquired the first Straitsman, which was the first ship, and then in 1992 he started operating across the Cook Strait. So started off as a small ship, the Straitsman, and then over time, it made sense to upsize the ships, upgrade them, and in 2002 they had passenger ships arrived in effect. So the ships could take passengers, so it made sense to operate with passengers.
So initially it was just for freight?
Initially just freight, yeah. So first 10 years or so of operation, but a very limited number of passengers occasionally would travel on the ships, but then Bluebridge was kind of founded in 2002, so it was Strait shipping.
How many staff do you have?
Strait NZ as a whole, we have, say, around about 550, and then in Bluebridge, though, it's about 300.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to crew the ships, obviously you need quite a lot of people. Yeah, they're 24/7. The ABs and the officers and so on, engineers, they're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Yep. Hospitality tends to be, they're either walking on or they're living on board and they're 7 days on, 7 days off. You have a reasonable number of people you've got to accommodate.
When you're talking to truck drivers and stuff, they said a big issue is like breakdowns and stuff, like then going across on the weather. Is the weather the main issue that you face?
Yeah, weather on Cook Strait is probably the main issue that will result in disruption or cancellations. It's the most common. I mean, Cook Strait is one of the roughest bodies of water in the world. It's a combination of it's sort of a narrowing between two islands and very, very tidal, so you get strong tides, and then it's actually, when you point out from Wellington Harbour here, you're looking directly down to Antarctica, so there's not much in between here and there.
So you've got 54 units of trucks, and are they prioritised over passenger vehicles, or do you?
It's not really a matter of prioritise. I think with this sailing, as Jerry mentioned, it's called a dangerous goods sailing. So you actually have to, by law, limit the number of passengers that you have on board. So it's twofold: the carriage of these dangerous goods, but it also becomes the primary freight sailing. Because you have to limit your passengers, you therefore fill it up with freight. This would be probably the busiest one for drop units, and so it takes a little bit of time to get them off.
What's the typical time frame that you allow for loading and unloading?
Yeah, it's around 2.5 hours. It depends on the sailing. In total. So it might take 45 minutes to discharge the vessel. Loading obviously does take longer. But yeah, it's a very efficient system, and the guys know exactly what they're doing, and the placement of all the freight units in particular is key to how quickly you can turn around. But again, the main thing is you do it safely. You don't rush it. So while they're incredibly efficient, they're not rushing. You never compromise on the safety side of it. The ships carry hundreds of tons of fuel, and they can go for several weeks without refueling. So, but this ship will typically, if it's laid up on a Saturday night, it will go around to another wharf there, and it's called bunkers, taking on bunkers, and that's where they refuel it. Occasionally we'll run a truck alongside and just into it, and so there's some, they actually did that yesterday.
So when I used to drive fuel, I used to fuel ships sometimes, or tugboats, but ships is really hard because with maritime you have to have everything, there's so many more cautions, like everything's connected then wired up, and then
Yes.
you got so much more paperwork and
Absolutely.
yeah. But we never did a ship like this, but we did
No.
do ships.
So these ships can take a colossal amount of fuel and go for a long time without having to refuel
Yeah,
if
okay.
you want. But,
Well, if it came all the way from Europe, that makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah, exactly.
What's the largest weight and length of a vehicle that can go on here?
Most of the B trains that we do are 23 metres long, but we can take up to 30 metres. You're talking up to 50 tonne, so yeah, fairly large.
But there are some heavier units that will go on, over dimensional stuff that we may take and facilitate. But
Yeah, 'cause I've seen some come out, but so mainly about 50 tonne, and then
60 odd ton units that travel with us. So, yep. No, the ships can certainly accommodate some pretty big units.
that just comes into the load plan, really, isn't it? To
Yeah,
make sure that there's space for it and when it goes on.
Stability, make sure the unit's in the right place, and that's all what the guys do. And then they do the calculations on the loading the vessel. CJ, do you want to have a look at the Turbo just
Can
to
I?
see?
Yeah, Turbo RT283. They're 275 horsepower.
Oh.
Which doesn't sound a lot,
Woo!
but they're all geared and
I did have a question about the gearing. I asked the boys, is there like a reverse and forward, or is it just like
they've
a...
got a 3-speed or 4-speed gearbox. So they're just forward reverse. They're limited to 26 kilometres an hour. So they're just geared way down low. They've got a 180 degree rotating seat. These particular units are designed for what we call the lock trestle system, so you've probably never seen that before.
No. What does that mean, sorry?
So you see the blue stand, which is
Oh, yes.
what we call a lock trestle. So we put them onto the tug. So it's got a turntable on the top, same as a normal truck would have. So we go in under, so we've got the pin here. So the tug hooks into the trestle underneath here. All right, then puts the trestle under the trailer, hooks onto that, lifts it up. We lift the legs up, then take the trailers onto the ship. When we get, so that's when. So this is the hooking up side is basically that. That's the disconnecting. So that's when we take them off the trailer. So this unit now, we'll put a tug underneath it, pick it up, airlines onto the ship, back it into position, put it down, and move the tug out. So that it would stay on the trestle. At the other end, the boys come in, pick it up, take it off, pull that, wind the legs down, pull that pin, and pull the trestle out, so that the truck can come in and pick its trailer up.
Cool.
So it's
I haven't seen something like that before.
no, they're we're the only ones, a company in New Zealand that use them.
So we're just leaving Wellington now.
So we are on the ferry and we're just pulling into South Island now, and it was a lot easier than I thought. I was really concerned about the waves, but it ended up being not too bad. Very grateful to get access to this cabin so we can have a shower. Nat is out here enjoying a beer and the views.